Hey everybody, Darren Cross here. Welcome to week 4 of Business 149 Business Math. This week we're going to be covering chapters 9 and 10. A little bit different chapters. So I tried to chunk the other chapters up in a kind of related fashion, but these are not really related, but as we go forward, they're going to be related more and more. And so it's kind of unfortunate chunking, but I don't think these concepts are so radically different that it's really going to confuse you. So chapter 9 is about payroll, and that's very, very important. I think that things like this chapter are the reasons that a course like this is created for business if you're not going to be a specific math class for like accounting or stats or something like that. So payroll is going to be very important. I can tell you this, I was just having a discussion the other day with my wife. And in that discussion, I told her that I've never once had a paycheck that I did not either expect every penny that I was getting or recognize that something was wrong. Every single time, I'm 50, every single time I've had a paycheck, I anticipated ahead of time because I calculated and wanted to know exactly what was going on. It was a little bit tough when I really didn't know what I was looking for. And so after this chapter, you're going to be able to do that. So and we're also going to be talking about chapter 10, which is about simple interest. And this starts the foundation for some conversations that we're going to have as well. In the payroll chapter, there are a couple of things that we're going to look at. And forgive me, I'm looking at my notes here. We're going to look at calculating various types of employee gross pay. So there's different ways in which people can be paid, right? So we're going to look at the different types of pay, right? We're going to define, compare, and contrast weekly, biweekly, semi-monthly, and monthly pay periods. That is going to be crucial because when you look at, if you're looking at what your salary is going to be, you have to look at how often you're going to be paid too so that you can calculate your check. And for instance, semi-monthly and bi-weekly, a lot of people I don't think make a distinction between that because they're like, oh, twice a week is the same as every other week. But no, because there are 52 weeks in a year. So that means that if you're getting paid every other week, there's 26 pay periods. But if you get paid twice a month, there's only 24 pay periods, right? And it's that way because not every month is 28 days. If it was, then, we could have even weeks. We're going to look at gross pay with overtime. And we're going to look at gross pay for piecework, differential pay, straight commission withdrawal, variable commission, and salary plus commission. So we're going to just look at regular pay, adding overtime in, different types of pay, like if I get paid to make something or if I get paid a commission and things like that. Then you're going to go into the part that I think is a little bit more complex. The math is easy, but the steps are kind of crucial here. And so you have to follow these steps. The steps are outlined very well in the book. The videos, I think, are extremely helpful, but you have to follow these steps. And what we're figuring out there is we're going to look at the payroll register and figure out all the pieces of the payroll register, and then you're going to calculate your federal and state unemployment tax. So you're going to look at federal income tax and all of that stuff as well, right? So you're going to learn some things about why those things come out of your check. For instance, when you pay unemployment and FICA, so Social Security and Medicare, your company is also paying that. And a lot of people don't understand that. Also, your company is paying unemployment tax and you are not, right? So if you get paid $10 an hour, and I know minimum wage is higher than that now, but if you get paid $10 an hour, your company is not paying $10 an hour. They're actually paying something like 10.2 or, $12 an hour, 20% more. So $12 an hour. And that's if you have no benefits, right? So they're giving you, or they're paying that right on top of the other things that they're paying. And then also you're paying your Social Security taxes, your Social Security, your FICA, Social Security and Medicare, and they're paying it as well. So that should also begin raising some questions in your head because it's like, wait a minute, I'm paying into Social Security and my company's paying into Social Security. By the time I get Social Security when you're 62 or whatever the age is going to be, man, you should have a lot. If you're young now and you've been paying in all those years, you should have a lot of money. And so that's something that you should start questioning and maybe being concerned about. Now, in addition to sorry about that. I'm trying to stage these things up here so that I can see them without having to look away from the camera. Sorry. Well, I'll just look at it. Sorry. So in chapter 10, we're going to be looking at simple interest. So simple interest, what we're going to do is first of all, look at the simple interest formula, right? So interest equals principal plus or times rate times time, right? So those are the three things that you're looking at. How much is the initial amount we started with, or the amount we borrowed, or the initial investment, or whatever it is? What is the interest rate or the rate of return or whatever that is, and how much time do we have it borrowed for or invested for, right? And we're going to calculate simple interest and maturity value. So we're going to calculate simple interest and maturity value for months and years. We're going to learn how to do that. You're going to calculate simple interest and maturity value by exact interest and by ordinary interest. You'll see that there's two different calculations based upon what rule is being used, right? So there's 365 days in a year, but sometimes banks use 360-day rule. And the way they try to justify it is they say, let's just make it simple math. Let's just say it's 30 days a month and there's 12 months, and let's just base it off of 360 days. But what ends up happening in that situation is that they make more interest. And so we fall for it all the time. I may be seeming cynical about some stuff, and I absolutely am. Part of the thing that I want you to do with this course is to actually dig in and figure out, hey, am I getting what I'm supposed to be getting, or does this seem fair? Because when you understand these things, it helps you give yourself an advantage as you're moving through the normal math that you would be moving through in order to just conduct business every day, right? So we're going to find the unknown in the simple interest formula. We're going to, with one of those things missing, principal, rate, or time, we're going to be trying to find the other one, right? We're going to use the U.S. rule to understand what happens when we make partial payments on notes due, right? So we're going to list the steps to complete the U.S. rule, as well as calculate proper interest credit. So when you borrow money and it's supposed to be borrowed for a certain amount of time, and you make a payment ahead of that time, you're not paying interest on the entire note. You're only paying interest for the time that you borrowed. And so you have to go through and figure out, how long did I have this money borrowed for? And let me make my payment. And then I owe the interest for just that time, and then how much is left, and when was my next payment, and how many days did I have that borrowed for, because I have to pay that interest. It can be complicated, but if you look at it that way, each time you're figuring out a payment, you're figuring out the interest in that payment based upon the amount of time that you had the money borrowed for which you have not already paid interest. Okay, so I know it sounds confusing. It's hard to kind of summarize these things in a 5-minute video. The videos in the chapter at the end of each learning unit, I think, are very, very helpful. But I want to encourage you, if you are challenged with some things, by all means, reach out to me. I will set up a Zoom and we will work through your problem. Okay, so do not hesitate to reach out to me. Just text me. It's easier. Let me know you're having a problem, and I'll set up a time that we can work through it. All right. So good luck with everything. And if you need me, just let me know.